What's up, guys, and thanks for watching our Holiday Cartridge Talks series. We are excited to bring you our first ever limited edition Vortex Nation podcast hoodie. If you're watching on YouTube, it's the one I'm wearing right now. Now, we only made 99 of these things, so when they're gone, they are gone. Click the link in the description to get yours. Thanks again, and enjoy the show. Steel rings, are you listening? In the snow, blood trails are glistening. That's right, if you can't tell everybody, it's time for our Holiday Cartridge Talks, the long-awaited series, and we've got a long-awaited first-up cartridge here. It's actually been on our list for quite some time. This was a listener request, Ryan. And
can you call request? You used singular there.
Oh, yeah, we should plural that.
Right.
He requested it many times. Carl, crazy Carl. And this is a pretty crazy cartridge, Ryan. As you can see on our list here, we finished our shopping. We got the milk, we got the eggs, the butter, the cereal. And now we're finally getting to the 9x25 Dillon.
Lord have mercy.
This thing is unique.
Please cross it off the list.
Oh,
where's our Sharpie?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
We'll get to that later.
We have the cartridge. We've secured the goods.
Ryan, this thing is this is cool.
Wait, it showed up in what, plastic bags? We don't have it in a box?
You know, couple things. First thing.
Yeah, did you I mean, let's look at how this came. Was this some sort of back alley deal?
It's not
Ryan?
mine.
Get it in a Walmart parking lot.
I'm holding it for a friend.
Okay. Hey, Jim, could you reach my printouts over there?
Oh, goodness
Absolutely
sakes.
not. I can't. Well, here. All right, you guys keep going.
Here, you've got enough leash. We were doing. I had these on the table, then we did some other stuff prior to the podcast, so I wanted to make sure that I'm giving away our secrets.
I'm
here.
back, everyone. Ryan, why don't you just start with this while Mark sifts through 15 pages of Wikipedia? 9x25 Dillon.
You know what I love about this job? I get to converse with any manner of people from all over the world. And it's crazy. I get to use Google Translate to communicate live with folks in different time zones, depending where they're at, different days of the year. And casual conversation comes up quite a bit about shared interests. And I'm on the telephone with a fella, and we get talking about stuff. His name's Randy. And I said, well, what do you do? And he says, well, I work for Dillon Precision.
Oh.
And I said, no kidding. Well, that's pretty cool. I love Dillon Precision. And we get chit-chatting. How long you been with Dillon? 40 years. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, you were with them like at the beginning of the cartridge reloading machines and all that stuff. He said, oh, yeah. He's had a lot to do with a lot of those things. And we get chit-chatting a little bit more, and I start talking about a cartridge. I said, 9x25 Dillon. I go, I bet you were around for that. He goes, I bet I developed it. And that gentleman was Randy Shelley, and the year was 1988. Also happened to be the year I was born.
Wow.
Yes. Great conversation. I actually believe I talked to Randy on the telephone when I got my first Dillon Square Deal B, which I recovered out of a shed from another friend of mine. That thing was in a state of disrepair. I called the Dillon Precision Company, told them about that. They sent me a full complement of parts. This is years ago. Full complement of parts to get that thing serviceable. And I have it dedicated to 45 ACP. Great company, great products. Anyhow, Dillon Precision comes out with a pistol cartridge, 9x25 Dillon, to fit some needs that action pistol shooters had at the late 80s, early 90s, at kind of the real uptick of action shooting with pistols specifically, trying to achieve what is called a power factor, which is a combination of bullet mass and velocity. It comes up with this neat power factor thing.
So that's what I was going to say. So major power factor.
Yeah.
And so I've got in my notes here, it was developed to meet a major power factor of 175.
Which is no longer major, by the way.
Which is no longer major.
Yeah.
But what makes up the 175? I mean, you were just talking about it, but like...
Well, we can look up a power factor calculator if you'd like to.
Okay.
So the idea behind power factor, I guess, Do you want me to look it up?
No, just the idea.
You keep
behind
talking.
it.
I'll look it up.
Right. So power factor, the idea behind the action shooting sports, and they have evolved quite a bit. If you follow IDPA, IPSC, or USPSA, it's changed. The idea is here, the competitor is using a pistol that in some way, I don't want to say like inhibits their performance.
It's on Dillon's website.
Yeah, there we are. So let's just say we're going to use a 124 grain bullet, and we're going to drive it at 1,450 feet per second. We end up with a power factor of 179.8, which is 5 over what Major was at the time of this introduction, but a nice, safe padding for you. Those are big numbers. 124 grain bullet at 1,450 feet per second. We are eking into 357 Remington Magnum territory, and we're doing it in an auto-loading pistol, specifically a 1911.
Really?
Yes.
It says here it holds twice the powder of the 38 Super Auto.
Yes. Yes.
Twice is double.
That is 2 more times. Yeah. So again, back on power factor, the pistol should be a challenge for the user to operate. So with power factor would come muzzle blast and would come recoil, and mitigating that muzzle blast and recoil is a challenge. So, and if you, within major or minor scoring, you have some different points awarded based on hit, where things are at. There's a whole bunch of science that goes into determining classes within these disciplines, power factor, what it means, and what a shooter needs. An interesting thing, most of these pistols were equipped with compensators like muzzle brakes, right? The harder you drive one of these muzzle brakes, the flatter it shoots. So your follow-ups are much quicker. So it's somewhat counterintuitive. The more gas volume that you can push through one of these things, the flatter and faster you can run that pistol.
That's one of the things I found most curious about. Like, people were like trying to achieve that high gas volume to go through the ports to flatten it.
Yep.
And I was like, more equals
power
less.
equals less, yeah. So the 38 Super, which has been around for a very long time, could do that if you got to the threshold of insanity, and then you might run into some reliability issues. The 9x25 Dillon does it handily. It's not even waking up.
Right.
And the idea was here we achieve major power factor. We have a very svelte cartridge that offers some mechanical benefits, like a fully supported chamber, for instance, and you get your power factor, you get your comp working good, you get super short splits, and the competitor reaps all the benefit.
Okay. So it's a numbers game of just trying to achieve this power factor number while also trying to achieve essentially the biggest competitive advantage in terms of like recoil mitigation and control as possible. Now, isn't that also power factor is another reason why like Smorty Fifth and Wesson, 40 Smith and Wesson,
Smorty, new mascot,
Smorty Fifth. That sounds like a whiskey or something. 40 Smith and Wesson has like kind of hung around.
I think you might have had a little whiskey this morning.
Patent pending.
Just learn your words,
another
Jim.
patent pending thing. We haven't said that in a while.
No sweat. Looking out for you, buddy.
That was why it kind of stuck around for a while too, right? So like 9x25 Dillon, you don't really hear about it a lot anymore. I'm saying, aside from our friend Carl, who kept requesting it over and over and over and over.
There's a reason for that, Jim.
Okay.
There is a reason for that. And this brainchild of Mr. Shelley's is exceptional, but it was beat out by cartridges that were doing the same thing, sometimes better, being able to pick up capacity in a gun. So the 10mm auto is the parent case for the 9x25 Dillon, by the way. I think I failed to mention that. It is simply a 10mm auto, neck down to 9mm. And that's about it. But
and they also reduced the power factor
to 165.
To 165,
yeah.
Which kind of allowed these other, cartridges with, like you said, different merits to outweigh the increased power factor of the 9x25. Which actually, did we cover the case? Because the case is very interesting.
The 10mm auto?
Yeah. Did we talk about that? Maybe I missed
I did
that.
just mention it is a 10mm
shoot.
auto, neck down to 9mm.
Okay.
So when you look at it from like a conventional pistol cartridge standpoint, it does not bear a lot of semblance to that. It looks more like a bottlenecked rifle cartridge.
Right.
Because it is a bottlenecked pistol case. You might also recall a cartridge called 357 SIG,
Yeah.
which
I've never seen either one of these in person before, and that's what I thought that was at first.
So the 357 SIG is essentially the 40 Smith & Wesson neck down to 9mm, which 40 Smith & Wesson is the cropped version of the 10mm because the 10mm was a lot to hold on to. And the FBI found, okay, well, some of our smaller statured officers are having a hard time with this cartridge. Enter 357 SIG, exit 9x25 Dillon. Fast forward several years, 1911s were a premier choice for these competitive shooting arenas. We started to see other metal frame pistols that showed a lot of the attributes and merits of the 1911 design, only in a higher capacity. And then 38 Super Comp really kicked up. And then a neat cartridge called 9mm Major, which is nothing more than 9mm, 9x19, 9 NATO, intentionally overcharged.
Okay.
Yes. Filling that role, hitting the major power factor levels, and doing so in especially like open class competition where we have a pistol that's equipped with a comp, we have a pistol that's equipped with a red dot of some kind, being able to put 23, 24, 25 rounds into the magazine. And now if you go check out video of people who are really, really good at open competition, you watch these guys and gals shoot these pistols. They look like they're just a blaze of glory going through.
They look like a sewing machine.
Yes. So here's a great question that I beg is what does that mean for the 9x25 Dillon today? Is it an extinct, is it a lead balloon from like a merit standpoint? Well, let's say you wanted to enter bear country and you wanted a bullet that might give you even just a little bit better penetration and a lot of velocity.
Than?
Say 10mm auto.
Really?
Yeah. What if I could shoot a 150 class green bullet 147 in a hard cast profile? It has a smaller frontal area, which will trade off for a little bit more penetration, and we're screaming the velocity out of that thing. We've got capacity. Excuse me. Now I feel like I've been drinking whiskey.
Yeah. What?
Sippy poo.
I can't even remember what it.
Yeah.
Smorty fifth. That's what it is. Yeah. All right. Now,
we've got capacity, we've got controllability, and we have terrifying velocity. Emulating 357 Magnum.
I mean, it is crazy.
That's
like,
neat.
it says here in my notes, pushing 115s at 1,800 feet per second.
Yeah.
And that's fast.
That's super fast. Super fast. It stands on its own as a viable hunting cartridge for handgun hunters. I mean, it really is. If you would say to yourself, I'd hunt deer with a 357 Magnum, which I think is sound, as long as you keep your distances, reasonable. You could do all the same with a 9x25 Dillon, and you could do it out of something like, Glock 20, Glock Model 40 with a drop-in barrel that will give you more capacity, the advantage of semi-automatic operation, and in a svelte little cartridge. Very neat. If you've got 10mm auto brass and you've got 9x25 Dillon dies, a couple of 3.55 diameter bullets, there you go.
I mean, it sounds like the brass is super easy to make.
One pass through the sizing die.
It's pretty
easy peasy.
Cool looking. It throws you off at first because when it pops up on the table, you're like, this is the most necked down and shortened little rifle cartridge I've ever seen. And then, no, it's intended to go to the pistol. It almost I was like, is this some sort of a new blackout?
I was just going to say.
Like a 357 blackout or something.
Could you imagine that in an MP5 style SMG?
Oh, it would be fantastic.
Beautiful cartridge. Again, brainchild of Randy Shelley and the folks over at Dillon Precision. Vestigial trait from years gone by. You know what I like to blame? I like to blame the video games. They had to lower that power factor because it hurt people's fingers. And because they're sitting there playing their
You think so,
huh?
Nintendo stations or whatever.
People
I made that up. But it really, really neat cartridge. And I think a super...
At one time, the solution...
Absolutely.
For the intended application.
Super viable hunting and defense cartridge.
Yeah.
And you can still get drop-in barrels for your Glock. And I think a number of other 10mm auto pistols.
That's kind of the tough thing when the competition market is your core demo for a product because... Sure. And especially when your core demo is someone who's trying to sort of figure out the most competitive way
Yeah.
of abiding by a rule is that the rules can always change.
Yeah, I only
what I mean?
I only shot that game for a few years, but in that time, I shot 38 Super Comp,
Yeah.
Reign King, and then 9 Major, like swept to the club that I was shooting at. I shot production class, so I was shooting a Glock 34 with 10 rounds in the magazine, and I can't really hop up the pistol at all. It's just pretty much box stock. And then I was like, well, I better shoot limited because I'm getting my butt kicked. And then it's like, nah, everybody just shoot limb minor. Take your 3-gun pistols to your USPSA league. Just shoot limb minor. Just shoot really good, which I also didn't do. But watching the kind of fluid dynamic change in that just to sneak out a little bit more advantage.
I mean, it makes you wonder, like, if they would have, if it would have been marketed differently at first. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have caught on with the competition market, and so maybe it wouldn't have had that initial success.
Sure.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say, but, like, you wonder with a cartridge that's this neat, was it always doomed to kind of just fade into just being sort of one of those, like, oddball things that people are like, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, or, a little bit different start somehow, and then would it have become
hot sauce.
Yeah, a little more hot sauce, a little bit more of a household name. Hard to say.
I still think it is hot sauce. I think if you're looking to up the ante of your old dinosaur 10mm auto and give it a little bit more spice, you find yourself a 9x25 Dillon.
Dinosaur 10. The 10 is so hot right now.
Yeah, it's like coming back weirdly.
It is. It is. Imagine if it was hotter.
I mean,
But
it sounds
it's
like
hot in a different way.
hotter with less recoil though.
Meow,
Bigger bullet though.
meow. It's so neat. It's a bottlenecked pistol case.
I mean, I don't disagree.
I think it's phenomenal. I think Carl knew what he was talking about when he was begging us to do this. Obviously, Randy knew what was up.
Oh yeah.
1988, year of my birth, 9x25 Dillon. Coincidence?
Carl must have one.
I'm assuming. I'm hoping so. If not, well,
I'd like to know what he's using it for.
I know it. Hopefully hunting. Or maybe he cracks out an old, like, vintage 1911 competition gun from the early 90s,
That'd be neat.
Yep. It's had a Packmar grips on it, leather holster, basket weave.
Dear.
Do you have one of these, Ryan?
A 9x25 Dillon? I do not.
Everybody needs a birth year cartridge gun.
Well, that's a good point, Jim.
I feel like, at least.
I've been toying around getting a G40 or a G20 short frame. I have them stuck on which one to get. Whichever one I do, accompanying it will be a 9x25 Dillon barrel.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. I've loaded a lot of 10mm auto, and I have a lot of 10mm brass. I can turn that into 9x25 right quick.
Well, that'd be fun.
Oh, yeah. And that'd be a fun thing to hunt with, too. Or defend myself from Ursus horribilis.
I want to put it in a lever gun.
That is going to be not easy to do. Well, maybe.
Talk.
There's a couple new lever guns out there that might take detachable box magazines made for pistol cartridges.
Okay.
He didn't like that. He's on that tube-fed life now.
No, I'm not.
But that was just very kind of wet rag reaction, Jim. You're like, well, all right.
No, that was an oh crap.
9x25 Dillon.
9x25 Dillon.
I think it's great.
Thanks for the suggestion, Carl. Thanks for your patience.
Yes.
We had some things that we needed to take care of. It
That's
took
true.
some time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and big shout out to Randy and the Dillon Precision Company for
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
you know
that's who sent these cartridges.
Yes, I'm going to tell you.
You called
something.
Randy.
That's great.
It came up in conversation. It wasn't even on purpose. My first bank loan was to get the money to buy a Dillon 650 progressive reloader. That is what gave me credit. That's how attached I am to this.
Wow.
I know it.
That's
My banker says, "You want what for what?" I'm like, "Look, man." And he's like, "How old are you?" I was like, "I need this."
I want that.
Yep. And I got it. Still got it. Love that press. Yeah. 9x25 Dillon.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Randy Shelley.
Yep.
For all the information and the help and sending us these. They're really cool. And now Ryan's going to get one, and then we'll reap the benefits of it because then we'll shoot it a little bit.
Yeah,
and
he'll
have some
load it
fun
and we'll get to shoot it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Heck yeah.
All right. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.